Okie dokie. Thank you for coming to the Monday night class today. We'll start by acknowledging the traditional owners, the Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, upon whose land we now are practicing meditation and trying to become better people. And so, look, I suppose we thank a sense of gratitude for having the opportunity, and hopefully we can do those First Nation people proud by the effort we undertake to become better people and to make the world a better place. That's what this is all about. Becoming better people, making the world a better place. It's really simple. It's very, very, very simple. So my name's Alan Malloy. I'm pleased to meet you. Is anyone here new? First time here? 1, 2, 3. Oh, cool. Okay, wow, that's cool. Quite a few, 6, 7 people. Okay, great. Okay, this is Tara Institute, it's a Buddhist centre. So I'm a Buddhist. That's a Buddha. That big golden sort of bloke up there in the glass cage, that's the Buddha. And then on either side, well, he's not really, he's a statue, but he sort of represents a Buddha. And then all these other statues here are other sort of meditational aspects of the Buddha image that we use in meditation and for ritual observances and things. And then we've got, in that cabinet on the side there, we've got all the Buddha's texts that he taught. And on this side, in those sort of boxes, we've got all the commentaries to those texts. I've got thousands and thousands that the Buddha taught, massive amount, and there's a massive amount of commentaries on that, of his teachings. And so, I mean, that's what we do here. You know, we study that and we learn, and for people who are interested, we give of that knowledge with the two purposes: to make people better, make their lives better, and to make this world a better place. And then really, really simple. So tonight what we'll do is a bit similar to what most people have done in all these classes. We just start by relaxing a little bit. It's really important to just relax, because we've all been so busy that we think that just by coming in that door suddenly, we're going to be able to meditate. No, you can't. You can't. It takes a little while. You've got to slow down, and it might take quite a while. When we go on retreats, for example, it might be like a month retreat where we meditate and every day, get up early and have many sessions every day. It's only by about the end of the month that our minds start to become a bit more soft, a bit gentler and a bit calmer. So we just have to be realistic. We've all had very busy lives, we've all got here, but so the mind is a little bit sort of chaotic. The body's probably a bit agitated too. You might have gulped down dinner, or you might not have gulped down dinner, in which case you're hungry. So if you've gulped down dinner, you're feeling a bit uncomfortable. If you're not had dinner, then you're feeling hungry. So both situations can be a little bit of a problem, but I hope you're all comfortable. And we will meditate in a minute. The sort of meditations we do can be very simple, straightforward, like ecumenical, which is focused on the nature of the mind or the nature of developing a single-pointed concentration, which is very, very useful meditations, such as we do the breathing meditation, which is what we'll do today. And why do we do the breathing meditation? Because if we keep doing the breathing meditation, one day we'll get it right. It might take months, years, decades, or lifetimes, but one day we will get it right, and we will actually be able to focus our mind on the breathing without moving, without losing the object, and then we'll develop what's called calm abiding, which is where the mind can blissfully maintain its object of concentration for as long as you want. By as long as I want, I mean not just for 5 or 10 minutes. I mean for 5 or 10 years, or 5 or 10 lifetimes, or something. So that's the possibility with just doing breathing meditation. So we start off by doing something really simple tonight, but don't forget it. It's the pathway to something very profound and very deep. And if we just keep doing it, we'll get better at it. The main thing is to never stop. The good thing about breathing meditation, it doesn't require anything. You don't have to have a Tibetan singing bowl. Have you ever seen those, the Tibetan singing bowls? They're awesome. I cannot get them to sing. I just don't have the karma. But maybe some of it. But anyhow, you don't have that. You don't have a metronome or a clock or a candle. All you need to do is sit there and breathe, and then you've got breathing meditation. It's really simple, very portable. You can do it on the train. You can do it at the traffic lights when you're feeling a bit agitated. You can do it definitely when you're about to erupt in anger with your partner who's really irritating you or something. That's a really good time to do it before you explode. Perfect. And then that just calms things down a bit, So these are all the benefits of these sort of meditation, from the absolutely sublime to the ridiculously inane, but so important still, so important. We're fragile. We make mistakes, and life throws up a lot of stuff at us. We have to have techniques and tools that we can utilise and to deal with that stuff that comes our way. And meditation is a good training tool, because what it does, if we just do it regularly, then we can fall into it when there's a crisis. Okay, so you are really angry and you're about to explode. If there's some familiarity with meditation and that peaceful state, then we can flip into that and prevent the explosion. And that's really good. That's really useful. That might even be life-saving. Who knows? So it's just have those sort of. If we get that familiarity, we can just flip into a certain sense of calmness, and then we don't have to react to whatever's thrown at us. So we'll do a little bit of, I presume everyone here has done some sort of meditation. Has anyone here never meditated, never tried any meditation before? Nope. Good. And I'm not pretending to be a good meditator. I'm just asked to be out here. No qualifications at all. But it's just... There is something that comes from experiencing things, and I think because we do a lot of retreats, and because we listen to the great masters, and because we try to understand the depth and the profound nature of what they teach and what their own personal experiences have been, then you do develop like a little bit of faith, the faith that comes from your own practice, but then a little bit of faith when you see these great masters and how they live their lives and what they've been through. For example, somebody like the Dalai Lama, he's one of my teachers, he's one of many of our teachers here, and at a very early age, like the age of 18, because of the Chinese threat to Tibet, he had to take control of the country in Tibet, very young age, an 18-year-old boy, and then had to make huge decisions, and then eventually had to flee as the Chinese invaded, and fled Tibet and came to India, leaving everything behind. So he and the hundreds of thousands of Tibetans who fled, they lost everything. They lost their home, their families, their monasteries, everything. And yet when we meet these people and we talk to these people, and similarly Geshe Doga, who's our resident teacher here, he fled too at that time with the Dalai Lama, or at the same time as the Dalai Lama. And then when we listen to them and talk to them about their experiences, there's no animosity, there's no anger, there's no inciting to revenge, there's no feeling to get even. There's an acceptance, and really there's love and compassion and wisdom. That's what motivates them. So there's none of those awful emotions which we find so easy to generate in us when we don't get our own way. It might be just someone pulls in front of us into traffic. We don't get our own way and we get irritated, angry. Let alone, we watch our country being destroyed and our people murdered and our families maybe murdered too. Let alone that, we can't even tolerate someone cutting in the traffic or pushing in front of us in a supermarket queue, or then not something. So, and that the reason why their threshold is so high is because they've studied these texts, they've studied the commentaries, they've meditated, and they've pacified their mind. So that's what we're trying to do here. We work on our mind. We don't work on the external world. We don't try to get rid of all the evil people. We don't try to hunt down every terrorist in the world. And if we hunt down every terrorist in the world and kill them or imprison them, then the world will be a better place. Maybe that won't happen. I don't know. It's possible, but maybe is it possible? I don't know. It's probably not possible. But anyhow, whereas if we hunt down every internal terrorist which is inside us, like the internal terrorist, which is anger, jealousy, revenge, unsatiated desire, depression, loneliness, sadness, despondency, feeling I'm a failure, guilt. If we destroy, hunt down and destroy all those internal terrorists, then what flourishes is the really positive minds. And the one we'll be talking about today is in this session how to develop love and compassion, because they're the antithesis, they're the exact opposite to the internal terrorists. The internal terrorists seek to destroy love, to destroy compassion, to destroy wisdom, to destroy good qualities. Whereas if we develop these minds of love and compassion, they themselves are positive qualities, and then they nurture other positive qualities. But we can't do any of that when we're agitated, so we have to meditate. So this is like homework. Homework. So in terms of meditation, the simplest meditation is just breathing meditation. In some traditions, I'm sure some of you have experienced it, where they control the breathing, like doing, controlling the breathing, holding the breath, doing like the vase breathing or various other yogic sort of techniques. Well, we don't tend to do that here, because that's not the focal object of this meditation. The focal object of this meditation is just the movement in and out of the air, from the nostrils to the pit of the abdomen and out again. So 1, 2, so in, out, that's 1. In, out, that's 2. And sometimes if the mind's very distracted, it's good to even count breaths. So you can maybe say, if you can count up to 7 without losing concentration, then you get an elephant stamp. Very good, you get a big tick. And then you think, okay, good. If you can do that consistently, then you could go on to counting up to maybe like 21 or something. And if you get to 21 without losing concentration, then you can stop counting, because you've actually got quite good concentration. That's sort of like a minute or 2 minutes, and so that's very, very, very good concentration. So, but for us who are very distracted, then it's probably best at the beginning to maybe count or just something, but keep in mind closely on the breath. When other thoughts come in, just let them go. Just keep the mind and the body together. I think that's maybe just, this is a little mantra you can say to yourself. Keep my mind in my body. Keep my mind in my body. Okay, so your mind and the body are in the same place. They don't go out the door. Your mind doesn't go thinking about, did I leave the lights on in the car? Did I leave the stove on? What have I got to do tomorrow? I've got to send a text message after this. I wish you'd stop talking. Blah, blah, blah. All that. No. Keep the mind with the body. So that's your mantra. The mind stays with the body. The mind stays with the body. And we'll just do some breathing meditation. This is going to be for about 10 minutes. So get yourself comfortable. You've got to sit for 10 minutes, preferably without wriggling around too much. If you want to lie down on the floor, that's cool. Doesn't matter. Main thing is to have a straight back, and you can put your hands in your lap if you want. Yeah. So I'm not going to say much. It will be like, we'll start the meditation shortly, and then in about 10 minutes, I'll say, stop the meditation. And in that time, you do battle with your crazy mind. Remember the mantra, keep the mind in the body, the mind in the body, and keep your attention on the breath. Just remember that mantra, and keep your attention on the breath for 10 minutes. Okay, we'll just stop the meditation now and just relax. Just, if you need to, stretch and do stuff. I hate giving lectures. Well, not hate. I mean, it's just a bit boring. I like to get some, if possible, if people want to share any sort of experiences, I'd love to hear it. And other people would too. You know, so, has anyone? I mean, what's people's experiences been of meditating? I mean, you don't have to have blissful experiences, out of body experiences. I mean, that's, maybe you have. I don't know. But anyhow, share them if you want. But just what experiences have people had in meditating? Good, bad, otherwise? I bet I can outweight you. For an answer. Yes, hello. Yep. Yeah, yeah.
So I find it easiest to do if I count.
On the count? Yep, you're cool.
And focus on my breathing.
Yep.
But I quite often want to move as well, because it's just habit.
Yeah, yep.
So, I don't know, perhaps I'm supposed to be completely still. Meditate.
Do you have to be completely still? So, yeah. So you said you find it easier to count with the meditating.
Yeah, and also to move.
To move, okay. So and also to move during meditation. Now, yes, there are different meditations we use. There's walking meditation. That's one of them, where you sort of walk, and that's really good. The Theravadins, they're like some of the monks from Thailand, Sri Lanka, and places like that. They do this where they sort of walk, just walk very mindfully, very mindfully. Really good, very good. Because then you combine the mindfulness with activity. Yeah, it's great. Fantastic. Yeah, yep. Yeah, good. Bit hard here. We trip over each other when we crash into each other. So you need a bit of space. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, great. Anything else? Hello.
I'm getting into meditation, but then I'm sort of feeling like I'm building on it. Like when I first started, it was impossible.
Yeah. Okay. What's getting easier? Well, so when you're new to meditation, but you're building on it, but as you do it more often, it's getting easier. What's getting easier?
Just being still.
Okay. Being still is getting easier. That's good. Good. Any other experiences? Okay. Being still, I think I like what you said. Our whole society at the moment is geared towards us not being still. Everything we do, every interaction we have in life is pushing us to not be still. So by being still is, well, some people think you're crazy. They might think you're crazy. Why do you want to be still? Why aren't you doing something? Why aren't you texting? Why haven't you checked your phone in the last 30 minutes? I mean, anyone goes 30 minutes in a day without checking their phone? Oh, dudes, I'm in the wrong place. Okay, this is not work. Okay. I remember once going to a lecture by some Google executives, and they're really sharp, and they asked this question: how many times a day do people check their phones? And I already sort of knew the answer because I'd been to one of their other lectures. I put my hand up and said, about 160 times a day people check their phones, or think about it, or touch it, think about it, check, do something, about 160 times. And yeah, it was about right, the average person. It's And by that I mean engaging with it. I don't mean taking it out of your pocket and flipping it open. I mean thinking about touch. You think, for example, as I've said this, you're all thinking, where is my phone? So it's sort of, have I turned it off? I mean, that's the worst thing. If you haven't turned it off, very embarrassing in a meditation class. So about 160 times a day. So that's like ding, 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 like a little blip going out of your consciousness. And we didn't have that 20 years ago, do we? We didn't have that. So now we've got these. So other things, but pressure of life and all this sort of stuff. Other people, other societies don't have as much pressure on to do too many things at once. So to be still is good. And now that we're a little bit still, now we can go a little bit deeper into utilising meditation to transform the mind. Being still is good. Well, we go from that agitated state, we make it still. Now when it's still, then we can think and we can transform, then we can utilise it. It's like a horse that's really wild. I mean, you can't do anything with it. You can't do anything with it. It's just kicking and butting and everything. But eventually, if you sort of train it, then you can gallop really fast in a straight line very safely. So a bit like with our mind. Now that we've got it still, what we can do now we can transform it. So we're talking about these internal terrorists, the very negative states of mind we've got in us that cause us so much grief and cause us to harm others, maybe. Then how can we transform them? Now, one of the minds that is an absolute necessity for happiness, for joy and comfort in this world is the mind of love. I mean, that is comfort, experiencing the mind of love. By that I don't mean others loving me. Others loving me. I mean, that's really hard. That's really getting other people that love me or love you, or maybe you're very lovable. I don't know. I find it really hard to get people to love me, but that's not a barrier to love. I mean, because love is actually sort of an emotion that I can experience, and I can experience it quite easily. And that mind, that generation of the mind of love, is incredibly sustaining. It's incredibly peaceful. It's incredibly rejuvenating. I think it prolongs life. I think it makes you a happier person, and it makes you nicer to be around. So you have more friends, and people feel safe around you. So many benefits of this. But to make other people love you is tricky. That's not the subject of this class. we sort of, in Buddhism, we don't work on others. We can't make you pay people do stuff for me. I mean, we work on ourselves. Then when we get our shit together, then that'll be beneficial. I mean, let's face it. Buddha had assassination attempts. People tried to assassinate the Buddha. Jesus Christ, he was murdered. All these other great saints been murdered. They had love, undisputable love, but they got murdered, assassinated, or something. So, just having the nature of love doesn't protect you from the negative natures of other people. But if you have the mind of love inside you, you're protecting yourself from your own negative natures. You're protecting yourself from those internal terrorists. But the question is how to develop love. I mean, I was brought up as a Christian like many of you, and we were told that we had to develop love and so be in God's image and develop love. But we're never really given, apart from developing faith in that and saying you have to have faith in it and develop faith, there was never many techniques about how to develop love. So I'll give you really simple ones today, and then we'll meditate on it, do a meditative process where you go through it. Now, this meditation on love is really just to understand our mutual interdependence with everybody. Once we realise we have a relationship of mutual interdependence, and once we realise that in that relationship of mutual dependence we receive great benefit, and then after realising we receive great benefit, then we develop gratitude. Then when we develop gratitude, we develop love. And really easy. It's a really easy process. This is a psychological transformation. The Buddhists were really good psychologists. The Buddha was the ultimate psychologist. He knew about every bit of the working of the mind. So here we have a really simple tool to develop love. And it's not just a simple... I mean, we all got love, okay. My partner, she loves her cat. You know, she loves her cat more than me. But anyhow, I'm not jealous, and I'm not that type of guy. But anyhow, she loves the cat, okay. So that's easy. But, you know, she gets angry at the neighbours, you know, and doesn't really love the neighbours. And that sort of bugs me a bit, because I actually like the neighbours, so even though they're painful. So you know, it's you know, love can be a bit partisan. I mean, I like Buddhist people, but I don't like other people. I don't like Protestants, don't like Catholics, don't like Jews, don't like whoever, but I like Buddhists. In fact, some of those Buddhists aren't that nice. I only like a few Buddhists. As a matter of fact, I only like the Buddhists who are really nice to me, and the other Buddhists I don't really like at all. So we're very, very, very picky, aren't we? Very, very picky, because we can't realise that our needs are being filled in such a broad expanse, such a broad expanse. So many beings, so many living beings suffer, even die, for our benefit. So we need to look at that relationship, how we're related to living beings, then how they benefit us, then we develop gratitude, then we develop love. And what is the mind of love? The mind is, there's a definition for love. There's a definition for love that we use. I mean, when you listen to songs on the radio, love means, well, I love you, which means I'm really horny and I want to have sex. I mean, that's one sort of love, and that's not what we're talking about. The sort of love we're talking about is, I want you to be happy. Oh, and not only that, I'll try to make you happy. I'll take responsibility for giving you happiness. And by that I don't mean it can be something simple. I'll give you some food. Yeah, like you go into the central business district, you give all these begging people some money, and you think, okay, that's good. And you think, do it with love, do it with a mind of love. Not a sense of duty, and that's good. You give animals food, you give parents attention, you give people whatever they need. So the mind of love is that which wants other living beings to be happy. Now, there are different levels of happiness. Okay, if you give someone a drink, then they're not thirsty for half an hour. That's good. If you give someone food, they're not hungry for a few hours. If you give somebody some shelter, then they're safe and they've got that. Give someone clothing, they're warm or cool or something. They're all perfect, absolutely perfect. But in terms of the Buddhist view, what we're talking about is having a mind of love, which is so encompassing, so expansive, that we say, I want you to have happiness, a permanent state of happiness, that not only lasts this moment, this second, this hour, this day, this week, this month, this year, this life, but in your next life, and the next life, and next life after. And ultimately that complete expression of happiness, which I want you to have, is only fulfilled when you yourselves become Buddhas. So what I'm saying is that expression of love, that full development of love, is the mind which wishes. I really have this impassioned wish. I want you to be Buddhas and free from all suffering and have all joy and all happiness. That expression of love is the Buddha's sort of mind, and that's what we're trying to cultivate. So they're different. It's very big love, very, very little love. And we're somewhere in that spectrum, aren't we? But we can always get bigger. Wherever we are, okay, we start with our cat. Oh, like there's a woman, lovely young lady. She texted me in the middle of one night late, and she said her baby had died. And I thought, holy shit, I didn't even know she had a kid. And then said she wanted me to do prayers for it, and I said, okay, da-da-da-da-da. And then da-da-da. And then I realised that she actually didn't have a human kid, it was a rabbit. And she loved her rabbit. She loved the rabbit so much, and she wanted me to do prayers, and I'm still doing prayers for it as it migrates through the bardo and all that. But that sort of love. Now imagine if we had that sort of love for all living beings. Well, that's the mind of Buddha, the mind of a Buddha. But without the distress. because the Buddha knows what to do. See, we're hopeless when we see somebody suffering. Okay, we see the beggar on the street, we give him $1 and we feel we've done something, but we don't actually, we're guessing what to do. When one of our friends is distressed, having problems in their relationship, they've got sick, they just had cancer. I just had a cancer taken off my face today, so I want a bit of love today. I feel like I need a bit of love. So you can shower me with love as I've had my cancer removed from my face. But when people, we give them some love. We give them love. So that's okay. So how do we generate love? Okay. Start off on the relationship between us and how we are indebted to every living being. How can we do that? How can we do that? Okay. Let's just do some practical. In a meditation, we're going to do a very practical example. We're going to imagine ourselves getting out of bed this morning. Wherever you got out of bed. Maybe some of you didn't get out of bed. You didn't have a bed last night. Yeah, some people didn't. But you got out of bed. Okay. So every experience you have. Okay. So you wake up, and the alarm goes off, or something, or your phone goes off, or something. What were the causes for that? Where did it come from? Where did the phone come from? They probably came from a factory in China, where some people got up early in the morning, years ago or months ago, to build this thing, getting paid peanuts. Then it got transported here. You bought it from a shop, somebody gave it to you, you put it under your pillow, and that woke you up in the morning. So just think of that chain of things, just for the alarm clock. Okay. And then you've got a blanket. Maybe you've got a woolen blanket on. Okay, you've got a cotton sheet and a woolen blanket. The cotton sheet, where did that come from? Probably once again from China. Maybe you were really lucky and you got one made by those Uyghurs who were impounded in internment camps in Western China and suffering. And then they had to harvest the cotton and mill it and then make that thing for you. Maybe the woolen blanket came from a sheep that was in one of these dirty paddocks around the countryside and has to stand out in the cold all winter and in the heat all summer, and then be shorn and then eventually killed when its usefulness is gone. And that woolen blanket came from that, and then that's your woolen blanket. And then somebody had to make the wool, had to spin the wool, had to form it into a blanket, and then you can enjoy it. And you haven't even got out of bed yet. So this can take a long time to get out of bed tomorrow morning if you do this meditation. As you think of all the people, all living beings who've suffered, who've contributed, who did something for you. And then finally you get the water out of a tap. How many people? Well, you only got the water out of the tap to have a drink in the morning because somebody got out of bed earlier that day to make sure all the apparatus was on so you could get the water. The electricity flicks on because somebody got out of bed earlier than you to make sure all the light switches were on at the power plant and all that sort of stuff. So when we go back, and then we realise that everything we experience, like here today, you're here today. Why are you here today? Well, you walked in the door, but it's because this was put on. This event was put on. People contribute time, effort, and we feel a sense of gratitude. We feel a sense, wow, so much kindness. So we're related to so many people in so many ways. If we really expand our mind, we can actually see the connectedness we have with almost every living being on this planet. We can almost see a connectedness. We can. If we're really, really honest, we can feel this connectedness. And how every living being in this planet is in some way sort of like contributing to our happiness. Then we feel gratitude. Then from that we feel love. We just feel this mind of... There are different sorts of love. There's one sort of love I really like, which is called the delightful love. When we do this meditation really well, it's a mind of delightful love where you just perceive a being, and by perceiving them, develop joy. Just the joy. Just like you see your old mum walk in the room, if she walked in the room, and you just feel overwhelming joy if you saw her. So that's the joyful love. So that's the experiential sort of quality of it. So we're going to do this meditation now. The relations, how living beings contribute to your happiness, develop gratitude, and develop this love to all the living beings who've contributed to the moments of these happiness you've had today. I mean, you got out of bed, okay? You might not have been very happy getting out of bed, but anyhow, you had to get out of bed. You had to have a drink of water, you had to go to the toilet, you had to turn on the light, you had to get food out of the fridge, you had to boil a cup of tea or something, or crack a stubby, whatever you do first thing in the morning. I don't know. It's your shit, not mine. I mean, I know what I do in the morning. I get up in the morning, I prostrate and then do my prayers because I want to set my motivation right. But other people have got different lineages. So, anyhow, just think of what you did this morning and how it's dependent on other people and how their kindness, and even if it's not, I mean, even if someone doesn't want to get up and make sure the electricity power plant's working today, they got out of bed and did it. They got paid to do it. But still, because of that, they got the lights on. Just people do their duty. They do what's right. Whereas if you're in other countries, like Ukraine at the moment, you can see the difference. Live in a country where people do wrong compared to live in a country where people do right. And you just, I mean, imagine if all of us just shipped to Ukraine tonight in one of those bombed out apartment blocks. We'd be so grateful for somebody to, please turn on the water, please turn on the sewerage, please turn on the lights, like in dear old Melbourne. Because we've got these wonderful people out there, living beings contributing and suffering to bring us these very, very fleeting joys, very, very fleeting joys. And so we feel intense gratitude and develop this delightful love. And comes from here, comes from your heart, doesn't come from your brain. Comes down, you open up your heart, and then there's so much we can do with that. But we haven't got time. So we're just going to do this meditation. Is that sort of inscrutable? Am I sort of being clear, unclear, boggy, messy? Yeah, it's messy. Life's messy. Our minds are very messy. So, but let's give it a shot, eh? Let's give it a shot. So this is an analytical meditation. So I'm going to give some prompts. About every minute I'm going to say something, and it's going to be, you're getting out of bed, and look around you, those experiences, and we'll go like, get out of bed, your bed, the clothing, your bed clothes, where did they come from? Then, I don't know what you do. We all go to the bathroom, and you think of what happens in the bathroom and how grateful you are you've got a bathroom, blah, blah, blah. Then you go to the fridge and get yourself a drink, and then you put your clothing on, where did the clothing come from, and then, so yeah, we'll go through, I'll give little prompts like that, and then we'll develop that thinking of how much benefit came from those living beings. We develop gratitude, then we develop love. Okay, so we'll do that together now. It'll only take about 5-7 minutes. It's just quick. Okay, just get yourself comfortable. Okay, a simple meditation. The Sutra of Getting Out of Bed. Yes. The Sutra of Getting Out of Bed. So, we're lying in bed, the alarm goes off. Where did everything come from? What is my relationship between the articles around me and the hosts of living beings who created them, who suffered for them, who even died for that? Just experience what's around you as you get out of bed and see the relationship you have to all those living beings. And now we put on clothes. Look at all those clothes we put on. The choices we have. The cotton that came from the Uyghurs in Western China. The wool that came from sheep. The fibres that came from all over the world, and people who manufactured it, then transported and sold it to us. Just think of the relationship with all those living beings, just with our clothing. Now we go to the kitchen, we open the fridge and get something out of the fridge. Look at the food we have there in the fridge. Just look. The vegetables, how they were grown in fields, insects died, were poisons, people had to work so hard, animals killed, living beings killed, insects killed to provide the veggies. The meat, which is the flesh of an animal, that was not given to us. It was sacrificed. All those living beings, just to provide what's in our refrigerator. Look at the relationship. Now think of the kindness of living beings. The kindness of the living beings who gave their flesh to us to eat, who gave their milk to us to drink. They sacrificed their lives so that we could have vegetables and fruit to eat. The people who found and worked so hard. Just think of the incredible kindness. The incredible kindness of living beings. The sacrifice they make just to sustain me. Meditate on kindness of others. The next step is to develop gratitude. Having received so much kindness, we now develop gratitude and the wish to repay that kindness. I wish I could repay the kindness that all living beings have shown me. Develop the mind of gratitude and wishing to repay the kindness. Wishing to repay that kindness. Now the final step is develop love. Just this delightful love where the mere appearance of living beings brings such joy and a burning desire for them to be happy and to fulfill their dreams. This is delightful love. The mere appearance of living beings brings joy and a burning desire to bring them happiness. Develop this mind of love. And just focus on it and hold it. Okay. In your own time and space, if you can just keep that mind present a little bit, but you can just make yourself comfortable and wriggle around, etc. End the meditation if you want. Okay, so we do have, you're allowed to ask questions, you're allowed to agree, but you're allowed to totally disagree. We are happy either way. Probably more happy if people disagree, actually. It's much more fun when people disagree. So if anyone, but then otherwise, and we've got a few more minutes and then we can have a cup of tea or something. Relax, just relax, take it easy. Good. Any questions? Oh, no questions, observations, anything.
Thank you for the session.
Oh, thanks, dude. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for coming. So it's mutual interdependence. You came here, so therefore I'm here. If you don't come, I lose my job. I mean, I don't come here, and then none of us meditate. I mean, so it's interdependent, isn't it? I mean, a teacher exists independence on students. A student exists independence on a teacher. There is no such thing as a teacher without a student. There's no such thing as a student without a teacher. So there's that interdependence. We can't exist without each other. We can't exist without each other. That's dependency, like that. Everything's dependent. Everything's dependent. So, yeah. My happiness. I'm very, very happy. I've been able to meditate very beautifully tonight. I'm very, very happy. Very joyful inside. And that's because of you people here tonight. So I'm incredible sense of gratitude and thank you for your kindness for coming. Otherwise I wouldn't have done this meditation. So I'm very, very happy. Very, very grateful. Gratitude. Remember the relationship. Remember people's kindness. Develop gratitude. Then develop love. 4 steps. You can do it for anything, anything, just any moment in life can be separated into those 4 things and used as an object of meditation to develop and enhance love. So, thanks for stroking my ego. No, but seriously, thanks. That's cool. Anyone else? Hello, Ingrid. See your wife has questions.
You know, this wasn't really the point of the meditation, and I understand what we were doing. We sort of want to know, like, how do we reduce our impact on the environment? Like,
Mm.
carpets in our fridge is awful. And I kind of got a bit distracted by that.
Oh,
Which was weird to get.
Okay, so we're doing meditation, we're looking in the fridge and we see the non-recyclable packaging from those big box sort of supermarket chains that will go unmentioned and they're so socially irresponsible to be packing their stuff like that. And then it just ends up in landfill. Yeah, you could turn this meditation around, couldn't you? You could go the opposite direction. It's hard, isn't it? Look, it's really hard. Yeah, I mean, you're thinking about the suffering. I mean, that's just it. Everything we enjoy comes at a cost. That's it. Everything we enjoy comes at a cost. The Buddha, in one of his sutras, he said there are only two foods we consume that are completely karmically pure. And that's one, if an apple or a fruit fell from a tree and we caught it before it hit the ground, that would be pure, unstained. And the other would be milk from a cow. Now, I would say that that's good before they had insecticides and all this. Now, I would say nowadays there's no. If we got rid of those two things, because the fruit and the tree's been sprayed with insecticides and blah 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 and chemicals that get from ripping up the ground and destroying the environment, etc. And the poor cow. We used to go away on Easter retreats a lot, and I remember a couple of times we went away on Easter retreats in the country. And around about Easter time is when an event happens in the country that's really quite sad. Because how do we get milk? We get milk from cows. How do cows produce milk? Well, they go get pregnant. And this is like, sorry, any dairy farmers in a room, I'm sorry. This is just, but anyway, around about Easter time, the cows and their calves get separated. And then around the country, we would just hear these plaintive wails of mother cows wailing for their baby. Wailing for their baby. I remember a couple of retreats we went away in the rural areas and listening to these cows wailing for their baby all night while they were wailing. And then their calves were taken away. A lot of them were slaughtered because that's what's called veal, isn't it? So anyhow, that's it. So even milk these days has come with great sort of cost. So there's nothing we do in this life that isn't karmically tainted, potentially karmically tainted with some sort of negativity. However, then I know, we all know that there are things that are very pure. For example, in our philosophy, the Buddha Dharma, the Buddha's mind, the Buddha's teaching, the mind of love is pure. The mind of love is pure. The mind of compassion is pure. The mind of wisdom that understands reality is pure. The mind of generosity, the mind of patience, the mind of morality, they're pure. They're pure. But the packaging from the supermarket, it's got a lot of baggage associated with it. Yeah, so we've got to get angry and we've got to do something about it. We do have to fight. What are we going to do with the polystyrene? I don't know, it's hard, isn't it? We can only do the best we can. So go out there and fight. Each of you fight with your inner terrorists first, and then destroy the outer terrorists. But work on the inner terrorists first. Okay, you've been very good. You're relieved. You can go home now. Hey, have a cup of tea. I'll sit here, and if people want to come up and talk about